Love her to death. My baby, the baby. And, oh my God, she's hilarious. She's hilarious. It's like her life is like a play. With all these interesting characters and all these interesting dramatics. And, she runs an art gallery. She got the job at 18, I think. She got out of high school, and it's an art district. So she wrote all of the art, whatever, galleries and said, I would like to intern. And so one lady hires her, and 2 weeks later she put her on payroll.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like the first night she worked there, she sells a $19,000 painting and calls the lady at home and goes, I don't know how to ring this up. And the lady's like, what'd you sell? Oh, this painting? How much? $19,000. And the lady's like screaming at her husband, oh my God, a niece sold. It was the biggest sale the lady's ever had. Right?
Wow.
Okay. Wait a minute, man. No. Oh, I forgot we're online. Yeah, this is that discrepancy I was talking about.
Okay.
No. How many people we got here? 16 people. Okay, here we go.
16 people. Hello, Valerie.
Valerie. Let me turn that damn thing off. Yeah, I'm a little discombobulated.
Me too.
Are you? Are you discombobulated? Yeah, because
really bad. I'm having such
Okay, thank God. All right, it's not just me. No wonder we're supposed to get on.
It's
right.
so bad. That's why I asked you about detox, actually, was that I'm finding that memories shifting, the way that memory is had is shifting with this detox that we're...
So what are you detoxing with?
It was initiated by that light being experience I had a couple of days ago.
Okay, we're gonna have to back up into all of this. Let's not do that yet. So how are you detoxing? Are you using juice?
I'm not, so it's, I don't know how to answer it without talking about the light being.
Oh, let's go. Let's just back up. He
did it, and then
I think
doing it now.
I think we should. Yeah, I think we should just talk about everything. I mean, like the stuff that you got about me, because I got something else from somebody along those same lines. Not that I don't want to make this about me. That's not what I'm saying. I'm okay with discussing anything, but you have to decide what you want to discuss on your end. I don't want to go into anything that you're not, that you want to keep private or whatever.
Right.
But I'm glad to know that you're discombobulated. And Bob Wilson says I'll be combobulated for you.
Thank you, Bob.
we're supposed to have Elsa Dillon here, but we know how
she's discombobulated someplace else too.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. So first of all, I guess we should say, why are we here? Well, we have a new show called the Trinity Show. The Trinity Show. God, my tongue. La la. Okay. And that's me, you, and Elsa, because we had we were on your show, we were on my show, then we did this let's go on and do a broadcast show. So technically, this is the premiere of the Trinity Show, -1, because Elsa could pop in, but she's a regular part of this, and so we're just going to have this show, right? So it's a premiere, so we have it on the Soulogy Network. It's on all the social media platforms. All of our social media platforms right now, which are going to be changing on the 15th of the month. All right. So, I don't know where you want to start. You're discombobulated. I'm discombobulated. And we're...
there's one more housekeeping question. A lot of people have been asking, how do they find the link for your new YouTube channel?
I put it up. I know it's really strange when you start a channel on YouTube. You don't show up in the thing, right? But yeah, I did put it up on here. I'll find it real quick and I'll put it up right here. Let me find it. Boom. Switch account. Soulogy Network. Oh, we have 32 subscribers on Soulogy Network. YouTube, even though we don't have a video up. How cool is that? So some people found it. All right, let me see. Boom, boom, boom. Copy. I think that would be right. How does YouTube work? Where you just put at Soulogy Network? Didn't that work? Or does it? Do you know?
Well, everybody has a different handle, and being that you'd be considered a new channel, they might not have given you the handle that you were asking for.
Yeah. That's, I believe, what's happened. Oh, here it is, though. I do see it here. No. I'll just go with what I had. All right, so
I was so excited. I got higher vibrations handled. There was somebody else with higher vibrations, but I won.
Right? Okay, there it is.
Sweet.
So that's the YouTube. And then the Facebook is just Soulogy Network. But there's been enough algorithm activity that I think the one on Facebook's okay, or easy to find. So yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of discombobulated. I noticed it's hard to go back and think about things, but today's what, Saturday?
Yeah.
So I would say. Wait, how did this all get going here? I guess probably this morning. I woke up this morning and I felt like it started yesterday. I was working here. I can't talk. I don't know what the fuck is going on with that. But I started here. I was working and I'm looking at the computer screen and there were glitches. But they weren't glitches. They seemed to be glitches with my vision of my two eyes, but they were glitches in my third eye, and yes. I don't know if it was all three eyes, because I could swear I was looking at the screen and then it would shift, but it was like a time shift, or it was really weird. And then I woke up this morning and I felt like, when I went out for a walk, because I knew I needed a walk. And then I thought, I'll go get something to eat, because I was starving. I felt like I hadn't eaten I ate yesterday, maybe 3 o'clock. I ate a pretty big meal, and I juiced last night. But when I went outside, it felt like I was walking back in time or something.
Yeah, I know what you mean, exactly.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I guess we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all I really have to report. Other than it just feels like how can I put this? Okay. So back in time, it feels like almost like somebody picked me up and planted me. And I'm kind of landed, and I'm looking around like I know this place, but why am I here? Or something like that. Yeah. So I don't know.
We're going back into our layers, right? We're moving back through. So like you came and it's like visually speaking, you're a larger person than a slightly smaller than that large one, and down like that, like the Russian dolls, the nesting dolls, kind of a concept.
God, say that again.
So what part?
Okay, I mean, here we go again with the two eyes and the third eye. But so the thing about the Russian dolls, you're saying, okay, because I don't know what those are, but either I'm having the second major deja vu I've had in 2 days, because that's another thing that happened. I was doing this show, and everything that was being said by the other person, I already heard it and knew it, and it was like he was a replay.
Yeah.
It was 2 days ago. So I heard the same thing about the Russian dolls. Did you tell me this before? We haven't talked.
No.
Okay, so you're saying the Russian dolls are like one inside the other? Is that what they're like?
Yeah.
So they just get like smaller. Okay. And it's the same doll. Okay, I got you. And what were you saying about it?
Is that's kind of what we're doing right now, only we're going back. So to more completion. And so as we go back, we're going back to a faded memory of something, is kind of what it feels like. I'm trying to translate what you are talking about in my experience of this identical all of a sudden you're just like, how did I end up here? And what is this time? And like, and there's all of a sudden knowing happening. And then as we're doing this mass purge detox thing, the memory is being released from us. And this memory, it turns out, wasn't even real. I was going to swear.
You can cuss. This is Soulogy. We just have to be airing on social media right now. Well, what are they going to do? They can't, they kick us off. They kick us off. We got our own network.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
So
we love them very much, but you can say that. Babushka dolls. Babushka dolls. That's what Lee Giles says. She was on your show.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. That was lots of good shows, by the way. I mean, very impressive. I mean, so you're saying that we're revisiting again.
Yeah. So, So as it's like okay. Here's the physical sign of it. My sweat anyway. I don't know about anybody else. I was going to say ours, but the sweat's got this weird color right now, and it's like we're sweating out this memory that wasn't true, but we're sweating out these lies, basically.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right. Yes, it makes sense. The purging, the detoxing, that makes sense to me. Because I woke up this morning too extremely dehydrated. Mm-hmm. And I really do drink a lot of water and coconut water, but I was extremely dehydrated. And that told me that something was, there was a lot that had been passed through or something. Mm-hmm. So I made a nice juice and drank some water, but I still feel like, I don't know how to explain it.
Discombobulated. You're not connected to your brain somehow.
Yeah. And so these things these toxins are leaving our body.
Yeah. Rapidly. And what they said, the word that they used is you're detoxing from the matrix. That was the wording. And I didn't know what that meant, because at the time I kind of felt like I was like, I haven't had anything like this in a long time, but it was similar to like daytime, like daytime cold medicine, almost that's how it started. It started to feel like that, where you're like separate from yourself. And then it just gotten weirder and weirder and weirder. And this is going to happen for the bulk of it. The main part of it's 3 days. So they asked, I was given the option to choose, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, I'm not this one hair Band-Aid person every couple of days kind of person, whatever. I want the Band-Aid ripped off right away. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And I've actually lost 7 pounds in 2 days. Just going through this rapid purging, and I'm not taking anything. There's nothing on the outside being introduced into my body to assist this detox. It's done by this. It was triggered by this light being that came the other night.
We should talk about that.
Probably.
So that was 2 days ago?
I think so.
You were okay, because there was several things that happened, and so that was yesterday was Friday, so that means the day before that was Thursday. Thursday was the night I did the show Under the Willow Tree with Angie and her partner Lauren, and that's when I'm sitting here talking to him, and he's telling a very unique story that I obviously never heard before, yet I knew everything he was saying. I was actually like watching a replay. It was like I was watching the echo. And I'm like, this is the weird deja vu. It's like weird. It's like I know as sure as I'm sitting here. Okay, so that happened, and something else happened. That night, I was writing. I remember I was writing music. The next day, I get a message from a friend, and they had something really, really profound happen, right? And then at the same time, I'm getting this message from you that you'd sent during the night, 4:00 in the morning. So you must have gotten up and you have this encounter, which we'll talk about. But then after that, there was like one I can think of with another friend, and then another one, and they were all these like, I don't know how to explain it, like this. Like I'll just make it try to get it. All right, so like this shit's really going down. It's going down now. Wow, I'm watching people spin out. I'm just holding my ground. I'm watching them shift, as a result of me holding my ground. I mean, there's just a lot of different ways to describe it, but this is kind of the energy of it, and I know you can relate to it. So what happened Thursday night then? That would have been Friday night or whatever, 4:00 in the morning. I'm getting like downloaded right now, like fucking.
I know.
Major
Me too.
download.
You can't talk, right? Because they're just like constant downloads. I've been like that for days too. It's just
wow. This is So okay. What happened? Are you laying in bed? Are you in the house?
No, I was outside. When my daughter goes to bed, I go outside, and that's just what I don't like being in boxes. I don't like being in buildings. Right. Like that's me, and so when I can, I'm not. And so I got her to sleep, and I left the box, and I was just sitting out in the dark, just kind of chilling. I didn't really have anything in particular going on. And I sensed that there were people and individuals on the road, which was about from where I was sitting. It's probably 7,500 feet away from me. I'm not very good.
Now, what time of day was this?
Middle of the night. So by the time I came in the house, it was 1 a.m. on the 1st.
Okay, so this is like 11 o'clock or something. You're out there,
something like that. Yeah,
and you sense people.
Yeah, I can tell there's somebody. There's many. There are several, at least. I don't know. I didn't have any idea on a number, but there were people and individuals on the road, and so I looked, and like I said, it was like 100 feet away or so. So, but 75 feet probably. I didn't see anybody. But I knew that they were there, and there was that part of me that was kind of like, oh, okay. And then I noticed this was the part that I started. So, okay, I'll back up. They were making a noise that sounded like kind of like a wild turkey sound. It was 11 o'clock because I remember thinking, turkeys aren't making noise at 11 o'clock at night. Like that.
Now at this time, were you actually seeing figures? Because you live
not
in a small,
yet.
Okay, you live in a small town, so everybody knows, right? So it's not like you have a bunch of traffic at 11 o'clock at night, right?
No, there's no cars. Nobody's. It's where I'm alone.
Literally a one-horse town. Okay.
Yeah. We have one stoplight in town, and it turns off at 10 p.m.
Okay. Cool.
So, anyway, and then I could hear this turkey sound, kind of sound, and that was when I looked over and I was like, this is not. And then you could see the outline of all of these beings. It was as if they were wearing a night cloak, and you could see the shimmer. You could see them, but they were wearing, the cloak thing was like, I don't know, like some kind of invisibility kind of thing, or
like an invisibility
that was just me
cloak?
not seeing it. You know what I mean? Like, you could see it was, those movies of like the Invisible Man, and he gets rained on, and then you could see like the little shimmer on him.
Right.
That's what it looks like. Okay, but anyway, as they walked, and I acknowledged that there were beings. All of a sudden, one of them was standing right in front of me, and like right in front of me, like a foot and a half. His toes were next to my toes, and kind of a thing. And I found that the reason that we bow is because your eyes, there you have eyes right here. Like this is, you can see from here. And when you bow, you're not bowing for respect or whatever. You're doing it so you can see him. And when I bowed, I was able to see him more perfectly.
Wow.
Completely white skin, not Caucasian, white like paper. White hair that was very straight and long, very, very long. He was probably 7.5 feet tall. Clothes were white, and he glowed. Like everything about him had this glow to it. What was really weird, that was one of my first thoughts. This is just, I know everybody else would probably have a different first thought than me, was why isn't it glowing on my body? I was wearing black clothes. I was sitting in the night, and it wasn't glowing on me.
So it was like an illumination was hitting you, and there should have been some kind of reflection or something.
You would think, right? It would leave, like a flashlight would leave but it didn't. And we had it was a very strange exchange, because I found that if I tried to repeat anything with my voice, that I would pull me up too far or way too far from the conversation. And then I would lose the connection. Like, so it was kind of a psychic thing that was happening.
So really, if you weren't in telepathy, if you moved out of the telepathy, you moved away from the conversation. You were when you try to use your, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And so I lost the where we were at in the conversation a few times, or not where we're at, but to get back to being able to hear him again. It took a few different times, because I wanted to recall. He told me about the things that were to come. He talked about a few of the events that I've been curious about regarding myself and my daughter. I asked about you, actually. I was curious. I don't know why in that moment, but for some reason, right in that very moment, I had a very strong desire to heal you in some way. And I didn't know why, but I kept asking, can I heal him? Can I heal him? And then he kept saying, you're healing each other. And then he showed me, I got to see inside your eyes. And I got to see for real. Like, do you mind that I'm talking about this part?
No, I think it's important to talk about these things.
Okay.
It's very important. So you're having a conversation about things that you were curious about, and then you had this feeling that you wanted to do some healing on me, and then I guess, see, this is what I'm wondering. I'm wondering, like, is this an aspect of me? So you look in his eyes to look in my eyes, or did he like present my eyes over here or something?
Well, like I was asking about healing you, and even though he would answer it a couple of times, I was being very specific. Oh, by the way, and when you ask a question, you don't get to ask the question. You don't get a chance, because so you start to just barely form your question, and there's already an answer. So you can't limit. You can't, like we do in a social situation. We're like, okay, I'll only say it this way. They answer the whole question because you don't have a chance to limit it. And so, and I know that for me, how I heal, the most profound experiences of healing that I've ever encountered has been when I've been able to look directly into someone's eyes. And as we talk, you and I here on this computer, your ability to have eye contact is obscured. It can't occur in my experience, and so all of a sudden in my mind's eye, I was presented with your image and was able to then go into your eyes,
which is the soul.
Yes,
we know this. Yeah.
And that was where I found this profound energy that is you. And they started to talk about, it became a they when we were there. It's interesting. I never really thought about that. And talking about and showing like how deep the love and compassion and just, wow, the power of you. I was really impressed to be in audience and witness of how many of your acts have assisted and will continue to cause this ripple of assistance, of this love, of this elevation. And and not just in this lifetime either. This is you always. And then there was a thing I asked, I said, okay, well, how, it was really weird. This is the reason this is funny is because you told me something about this previously and I didn't realize it. I had forgotten. But I said, okay, so how long are we going to be assisting one another in this? Because I knew that we were right now we're temporarily or in this partnership of assisting all. And they said 798 years. And I thought to myself, that's really interesting, because he said 800 years. And I was like, but he got the 800 years when it was 2020. And then I realized we were talking about 2021.
Right. I saw your message and I thought, and because it was like a lot of star seeds are, it's like a cross between English and starseed language. So it was like a gap and it just said 798 years. And I thought, well, I wonder what that was. Was that how old this being was? But what you're saying is you asked how long will we be collaborating, helping people, and he said 798 years.
Yes.
Which is that is what I got. I got 800 years. 800 years. Yeah, that this all be everything that we're all doing is going to go, or whatever, however you say that, Soulogy or the collaborations. So let me just absorb that for a second, because I had something with that. So you're saying that when you were interacting with what appeared to be one being, the one that was next to you, that it really wasn't a singular voice. It was a voice of many, like an energy complex, right? And then was the illumination coming off of this being? Was there any blue tint to it?
Oh yeah, that was what was really weird. Thank you for asking that question. Is that in the moment I recognized this being as having previously had a blue tint, but it didn't. It had a pink one.
Pink, okay.
Very, very faint.
Right.
And just as the blue would have been, this really like baby blue, light blue color was and my thought was, oh, did he get promoted? Like that was kind of.
Maybe they're reflecting. Yeah.
Yeah. The frequency we're in now changes the color that we can see from it, perhaps.
Well, the blue and the pink is everywhere. It really is. It's been that way for a while. These different types of pink. I know I filmed a bunch in Sedona last year, and I know people were, it was all over the place. And the blues, these baby blues and these aqua blues, but listening to this description and feeling into it, my recollection of inner Earth hasn't been consistent. It was very, very much a big part of my early reawakening, and so it's like almost like I came out of the inner Earth, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but what I do know is that the beings, which I would call, maybe there's more than one species or civilization down there, but in fact I know there is, but there's one that I've interacted with, and I would call them Agarthians, like Agartha. I don't know if but that's what feels right. Yeah. And they're very tall, and they're very white, and they have the real white, long, fine hair, and they're extremely high frequency, like it's like okay, and they tended to have like a little soft blue kind of a tint around them or something that illuminated, but I can definitely see the pink too, Because to me, the colors are very close. I know they don't look close, but whenever I see the colors changing, like even in work I do, or even like just walking around or whatever, that there always seems to be like the blue can go pink, pink can go blue. Like and I know there's a bunch of changes in the middle of it, like purple, but yeah. So I don't know. I'm just throwing in what's coming to my mind.
The stars do that. I used to call them the Superman planet when they would do that. They would go back and forth between blue and pink.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, that's right. Now that you say that, you're right. If you really look at a star, you will see stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
and then,
really cool.
Yeah. And then, like, what do you think about, well, this is a stupid question, because we've had so many things happen on the Soulogy shows over the years. But last night, I was kind of, hitting the end of the road last night. And Ernestine had her premiere.
That was amazing.
Yeah, and I didn't even think about it. I had told everybody, hey, I'm not going to forget you. Everybody chill. I might send you the link at the last second, but I'll be there. And that's what happened. I sent her the link like 20 minutes before the show started. So we met in the studio like 5 minutes before, and I said, hey, Ernestine, this is your premiere. Why don't we let me do some lyrics with you or something to open the show up, and we'll talk a little bit. Here we go. So we did, and there's been a lot of times when I've jumped on and done shows over the years, and out of nowhere, all this energy comes in, and many times a bunch of people will jump on, but you can just feel like there's some kind of magic moment occurring. And so that's what happened last night. And as you know, she started doing that drum thing, and this rainbow, this pyramid-looking thing, rainbow rays start coming in through the window. And did you see? She sent me a picture too.
Yeah, she sent it to that group.
She sent it to the group with the dots on the wall.
Yeah,
that shit was crazy.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that shit was crazy.
Rainbow frequency came all the way. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like that is connected to your experience, to the experience I had, like with my friend, and to the other couple of friends. They were all in the same time frame. And I don't know. I just, like, when you wrote that to me and you shared that with me, what you shared earlier, I really felt like that was a sign of, I say sign, yeah, like a sign of things to come.
Oh yeah, it's okay. So the reason that they were walking through right then, by the way, and it was anyone who heard the call. Once you heard it, that was your acknowledgement of it, and so that was at that moment that particular group were doing. Or they then one at a time approach individuals to assist them. I was asked if I wanted to undergo a rapid purging, a rapid detoxing from the matrix, and I said yes. I'm that person, get it over with. I'm tired of this one hair a century bullshit. Pull that Band-Aid off.
Rip
and get
that
it over
Band-Aid
with.
off, yeah.
Yeah. And so I do not regret my choice, but it's been a really intense 48 hours. Holy cow. Like I am, like I said, I first purged in every direction so much that I lost 3 pounds the first day. Now I've lost 7 pounds total in 2 days.
I purged every direction. That's funny. I was talking to another sister yesterday who's pretty much saying the same thing. She's like, TMI? I'm like, no, man, life is life. I mean, but that is funny. So they asked you if you wanted to accelerate the purge, and were you saying that they were looking for people to assist them?
Yeah.
Okay. And God, there was another connection there too. I can't remember what it was though. Oh, I know what it was. Okay, so it was either yesterday or the day before. Was it yesterday? I did a solo yesterday. I did a daily show.
It was yesterday.
Was it yesterday? God, isn't that crazy? Can you remember?
I know, time is so messed up right now.
So, I've been wanting to do a daily show, and I don't really think that was a daily show. That was more of, I get these nudges or whatever you want to call it, or pushes to get out and lay it on the line, right? And that's the only way I can explain it. And so it came in like that, and it was like, I think it was an hour and 5 minutes, which I can't even believe because I thought it was like 20 minutes, and I don't even know what I said when I get off, right? But I went back and listened to some of it because my soul told me to, which I don't normally do, and it was like, let's just call a spade a spade. We're not carrying a charge. Our charge is to carry no charge, but there is a benefit to the collective to saying the truth, calling out COVID, calling out vaccines, calling out the Ukraine war, calling out this government, calling out Biden is actually sane and Trump is actually guilty of these things they charge him with. I mean, all the bullshit, right? Mm-hmm. And then really kind of connecting it at our level, which was no more driver's license, no more paying taxes, no more paying insurance, like all these things that the writing's on the wall. We cannot, somebody prove it, but we cannot participate in this new earth. I realize there's a transition and we're building a bridge. And there's certain things that got to fade out, kind of like Soulogy. Soulogy's creates its own platform. It's still got its old platforms. Now it's going to remove its old platforms and have new social media platforms of the same name of the platform, right? And then eventually totally get away. Well, I realize that we have to have bridges, but what came in for me, and I guess this is why I'm thinking it's connected or somehow frequency-wise, is it's like a purge. It's like a purge. It's like, okay, almost like kicking a habit or kicking an addiction. So, but it was like realizing how deep the physical programming goes. Because it's one thing to be, our consciousness to be, taken over or whatever, or influenced. But it's another thing to do physical acts.
Right.
These are more powerful energetically. So every time we get our license renewed, every time we, think about it. You get in the car, you drive down the road, you see a cop car, what do? The first thing you do is you hit the brakes. Oh shit. Like, you see what I mean? Like it's so I was getting that all this stuff is ready to go now. And we can start to sever these ties, but these ties are going to defy the social norms and what's considered, conventional practices or conventional wisdom, and they seem like little mundane little things. But you ask everybody here, how many of you have car insurance? Why? Well, because it's a responsible thing to do, and you can't drive a car without it. Well, really, fuck that shit. Okay, let's go back to the early days. Let's go back to, before 1917, before there was a U.S. tax code, or the central bank, or what I mean? Like, we're locked in. We're locked in so much that they said go put masks on, and 90% of us did. I mean, like, this is weird. To me, it's weird, and last night I was talking to these two dudes. Like I was telling you, they just came out of nowhere. They weren't together. Like, hey, I need to talk to you. Like, I don't even know these people. And the next thing I know, they're both telling me in their own way how they and I would say that they've never been in a light worker circle or starseed circle. That's just my inclination. Okay, and they both are telling me how they figured out. These are two separate conversations, right? They both tell me how they have figured out that everything's like the Truman Show, right?
They figured it out. Cool.
They figured it out. They said, like, you know what? This shit's not even real. Like, what the fuck's going on? This guy told me I got 1 vaccine and 2 boosters, and I got COVID 2 times. He says, what's going on here? You know, like dead serious. Like dead serious. And then he says, and finally I said to him, so where are you at? Where are you at? And he said, and then he just started like spitting channel. He was like, I'm wanting to expand myself. I want to have conversations like this. I mean, it was like, whoa. So was it you that said on the 23rd, everybody will feel it?
Yeah.
Even if they're not conscious, they're going to feel it. Everyone's going to know. It was kind of like that vibe. Like this guy just felt it.
That is so cool. Wow.
Look at this. Sherry Kitchen said, my son said, Mom, everything's a hologram. We're reborn every day, every minute. These children, man.
I know.
These children. I mean, you know firsthand.
Yeah, that's been weird too. Everything's in shift right now.
I've never seen you like this.
Me?
I've never seen you like this. Yeah.
I'm very disoriented. I'm very there. It feels like we're in many places at the same time. We always are. It's just now we can tell. And you can see what's happening. You know why it's happening. It's just that it's before you couldn't. There's no tangible witness for it, and now that there is, you know, these beings are here to assist everybody.
Yeah.
And like you said, you know, and it's okay if you don't resonate with this. These beings are ourself.
Yeah.
These beings are us, and it's that a babushka doll. Is that how you said it?
Somebody said it. Babushka. That was
like this.
V.
It sounds like a fun word to say.
Babushka. Yeah, babushka. By the way, her son is 35, Sherry Kitchen. I said, those kids. Well, that's still a kid for me. I'm 61. Yeah. Yeah, what were you just saying? Oh, yeah. See, because, you know, all right. How could, I mean, it's so hard to examine this stuff, but like, how could somebody look into the soul of another without consent? Because I know consent's there. So that means that either or that's an aspect of me or that's an aspect of us. Okay?
Right.
Us could be an energy complex of, let's say, 100 different people that are alive today in different bodies. That this being, although I don't know, you know, I mean, to me, we're all walking together now. If we have multi-dimensionality, who's to say we can't be standing right next to another aspect of ourselves, which is essentially what you and I are doing right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it.
It's true. And then when you look into the beings, it's like many hairs of light. And each hair is like an echo or a resonance of another being. So like within them, there's the whole collective at the same time. It's not simply a consciousness thing, because light is the commodity. What's the right word? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the means of exchange, means of energy, means of.
I'm buzzing.
And look at this, Chrissy Grubbs. I just paid $3,000 to try to get my license back. I had 2 driving without license and registration tickets, and had to pay $100 just to ask for a hearing that can take 90 days for a rally to respond. It's bullshit, and it is bullshit. See,
yeah.
you know, and that's the whole thing. Like talking about it on that show yesterday, I wasn't charged. I was just saying, let's face the facts. Do we want to let go or be dragged? I think everybody would like to accelerate things, but we also understand that it's the journey. It's the actual appreciation for the present moment, what it is, life itself. And so we kind of got to have that little, but I also think that we can feel it. We can feel it like this equinox, this period right now. Like there's something, and everybody's talking about it. Now there was, let's see, today's Saturday, so midweek, middle of the week. A first betrayal or ancient betrayal or original betrayal or original imbalance or something. Did you pick up anything like that during the week?
Yeah, it was Tuesday for me, was when that came through. And like as a result, and in fact still a lot of the people that are close in close discussion with me, a lot of them all kind of disappeared and are healing privately during that whole, because it brought up a lot of stuff for everybody. Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, the time period. I don't think we talked about it, but I know I talked about it with some other people, and some things happened, and I just wondered. And that may not have been the way to describe it, but like some ancient betrayals, or something like. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, yeah. For me, what had happened was, so I noticed it felt like it was kind of a jarring energy. Like it felt like what it feels like in a room after someone just shouted really loud, just that like weird, right. And I have no words today. So I'm sorry, Todd. This is not me.
All right, look, man, it's all right. I think this is great because this is we actually have more code, potential, like in situations like this. To me,
right?
You know what I mean? I mean, okay. So the betrayal thing, and some weird stuff happened. I don't know if I told you this because I can't remember. I know we talked briefly yesterday, or the day, I don't even remember. But, okay, so my friend had like like the thing that women get, like that download, that feeling. A lot of women, like with the earth.
I thought you meant period.
I don't know. That may have happened too. Did you hear Angie the other night?
Actually, same experience. I was on the same boat with her. So anyway, go ahead. Please tell your story.
Oh my God, that's so funny. So that was what, on the full moon? Y'all had your periods. Does that normally happen?
And during Mercury retrograde, and during the comet stuff, and
See, that's why if there should be no question of the goddess. Just the fact that the woman goes through that and child, and carrying a child, and I mean, there's just like, come on, that's. But so yeah, my friend had this. It was like maybe Wednesday morning, and it was like this, like you said, somebody shouts in a room, and it's just like, what the hell is that? And she told me it felt like a ancient betrayal. And then I started getting this weird stuff about Thoth. Okay? And so what ended up happening was it was like Thoth, like it was weird. It was like, okay, I was Anubis. Anubis has been with me since 2018 when I first went to Sedona. He came to see me the first night and the last night, and many other times after that. So I start carrying Anubis with me, which I don't carry stuff with me. I've been given a lot of stuff over the years, and I have it like in a suitcase. But as far as like something I carry with me, and I would travel. I put them on the dashboard, but I always felt like, I don't know. I think I told you this too. It wasn't too long ago. Like he's always around, and I put my hand down, and it was like physical. Well, about 2 weeks ago, I have this vision, and I'm standing, and I'm Anubis. My skin's black. I'm black and gold, beautiful, canine humanoid, and I'm looking at this other being, and I know that I've embodied Anubis because it's happened to me before with other essences and other guides and such. So I'm looking at this other one who I've seen a million times before, and it's Thoth with the avian head and humanoid body, and I don't remember everything that happened there, but I knew, because I was asking, like, okay, so are you gonna ride? You're gonna be my, the one that rides with me now, for a while, or are we gonna have a sit down or what? And the answer was no. The answer wasn't clear, but I wouldn't say that I was going to embody Thoth, but it was somewhere in between what I was asking and full embodiment. I don't know. I'm not saying it would be embodied or it wouldn't be. I don't know. So then this thing happens with my friend, and she tells me, wow, I just got this in, and she's very high frequency like you. And so I'm like, oh, wow. Well, all of a sudden the whole Thoth theme comes back, and it was a whole story of Thoth. So I started to research it, and I found through what the hell is her name? Something Dean, Ashiana Dean. She came out about 15 years ago. She had some really unique stuff, right? Now, it wasn't verbatim what I saw her speaking of, but it was close enough. And the thing was, I take that back. I wasn't even researching. It just found me, right? So you know how that shit works.
Yeah.
Okay, so what ends up happening is I start to remember. I don't know how this works. Remember my life?
Yeah.
Or remember his life as if it was me? Because I don't think for 1 minute, and I'm always open to everything, but I don't really identify with being this or being that. I think we're everything. Anyway, long story short, the service that the being we call Thoth, under many different names, was shown to me even before he got to Earth. So he was showing me how he was a universal soldier, like cream of the crop, like golden child, like, golden boy, like, just you want to go do something, send Thoth, kick ass, take names. And then it starts here. And it was the same thing. And then there was a point, and this is where Ashiana Dean intersected with, because I didn't have like the story. I just had the feeling. And there was a turn.
Yeah.
And in her narration, in her channel, wherever she got that information, because her stuff is as intricate as what's her name? Ascension Glossaries, Lisa Renee. Probably the number one source book in the Lightworker starseed field, right? And Ashiana Dean is that detailed, if not more. And it's all verbal. I think she's written some books. Yeah, she has written some books, but I've never read them. Anyway, what she was saying was very similar, in that there was a massacre in Lemuria, present-day Kauai, all right? And that's when the Anunnaki, the distorted masculine, whatever you want to call it, came into the realm, imprisoned the men. And I've talked about this in a previous show before coming across this information. And I had lucid dream of that exact day, all right? And so they came in, they imprisoned the men and killed them, hunted them down and killed them. They took the priestesses for breeding, and they ended up raping them and killing them, but, were able to have the offspring that they wanted, and that's been written about, right? So Thoth, according to her, that's when he turned and he took part in that massacre. So he turned 180 degrees. So it made me feel like something had happened. So say we're going back in time. That's the way I see it. Like the Big Bang was an exhale. And these are all the streams of our consciousness. Each one of us, even from this point, would have 1,000 different, you know what I mean? Multi-dimensional incarnations. Now the universe is starting to breathe it back in, right? Mm-hmm. So naturally we're on the outer edge because we're the badasses and we want to be tough. We're out here, which is great because this is where we develop our code. This is where the new code comes in for the next generations. That's how I see it. That's what I got. But the reason I'm bringing it up now is because as we move back into the inhalation, then you go from 1 billion to 500 million to 100 million to, so the number of aspects starts to get smaller, but that doesn't mean that we're diminished in any way. It just means these are energy complexes. You think of an energy complex, you think of, okay, say there's 100 people and we all go to the 7th dimension and we become one soul with a singular voice, right? But this is working backwards, so think about that. If the first breath came out and there was 12 essences, like Jesus, Magdalene, Kuan Yin, Saint Germain, Merlin, let's just say.
Right.
Okay. The reality is those are energy complexes made up of a whole bunch of souls, you could say, or souls to be. So the next iteration, there's now 24. And then the next iteration, there's 48. And the next, there's 96. So it's like, as I looked at all this, I thought, well, maybe I got this thing about Thoth so that I could equalize the betrayal, right? Or it's being equalized. And so maybe that's part of what happened, because my friend said it was an ancient betrayal. And I'm thinking, okay, in the earth experience, whether it be the Greek gods or, and I think Athena spoke to this quite well. We talked about this last time. But it's the same passion play over and over and over. Mm-hmm. But there had to be a point of the first corruption or the first violation or the first, fuckery or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? I mean, that would make sense to me. If we're going back in our own lives and we're equalizing every perpetration put upon us and neutralizing victim consciousness or whatever you want to call it, then wouldn't the same thing hold true for our past lives, for our ancestral lineage, and for the whole collective experience as a whole?
Right. And I know that where the violation happened as well.
You do. Tell me about it.
It's the divine masculine. It was to quash, to mess up the divine masculine, the Emerald Tablets. Okay, so divine masculine is straight energy, and that's just how it works. It looks like a straight line, or it has sharp turns. That's masculine energy, and feminine energy has curves. It swirls, it spirals. These types of things. This is divine feminine energy. The Metatron's cube requires the divine feminine, divine masculine to both be in with it in order to create this beautiful, perfectly harmonious cube. The emerald tablets were written as Thoth began his descent, and he wrote them to explain or to describe the divine masculine in straight lines as wicked, as the bad guy, as he called it darkness, he called it shadow, he called it things that made you want to flee from it and to be as far away from the energy as you can, while so doing creating the ability for what we would consider evil to exist on this plane before it could not, until it was believed that it could. And the separation from this divine masculine has always been it's as if we're lost in a memory of a memory and the nightmare of a dream, and not being able to recall how to get back, because there's one part that was missing. And this whole time it's all been about like feminism and all this stuff, and going back to, and I'm a chick, dude, but you know what, there's some messed up stuff that was done in the name of feminism, throughout the years, and taking away and disempowering the masses. And so here we are back to remembering that faded part of the dream, is that the strength of the divine masculine needs to return to. And so what does that look like, right?
Well, just a quick sidebar. Lana Firestone says, not babushka dolls, they are called matryoshka dolls. So we now have 3 different names.
I like to say babushka anyway, though. That's a full name.
I know, I like to say babushka. But one of the Rockefellers, I'm not sure which one it is, not Nelson Rockefeller, but the generation above him. In the 80s, he is on record, either audio or video, I can't remember, and he actually says to this guy, do you know who invented the feminine movement, the feminist movement? They did.
Yeah.
They did it. And then he laid out why, and there was several different factors. And then you said this about Metatron. And
his cube.
The cube, the masculine. Oh, part of what Ashiana Dean said, okay, it was the cube, was that the emerald tablets were never supposed to be written. That at that juncture, there was actually a movement to unify everyone, okay? And that Thoth was supposed to orally pass this on, just like the Dogon still do today, right? Mm-hmm. Like the Dogon have an elder, and the elder basically lives in a cave, and he holds all the oral tradition, and these are the people that they go back to. They knew about Sirius B and C before we even knew about it, with telescopes and other things like that. Mm-hmm. And then they have another one that's kind of like his apprentice that talks to him all the time, right? And so that's how they do it. But he was supposed to do that according to her. And again, everybody's got to make up their own mind. But her stuff is pretty interesting. I don't buy anybody's 100%, but there's a lot of good information. Just like Lisa Renee, I don't buy all her information, but there's some good information. And that he purposely wrote it down. Yeah. And that there was something in the effect of what you're talking about. There was ill intent. There was an intent to program, to alter the program, to alter the code, which is really what you're saying.
Yeah. To remove harmony and balance.
And what you're saying about the masculine. This is strange. Okay. So you run into this aspect and you get this feeling, can I do some healing on Todd? I get a message this morning from a collaborator. I have a feeling you're not okay. And then I think I got another one yesterday. Now, I'm okay. I'm good. If anyone hasn't noticed, I'm doing pretty good. I feel good. I'm probably working too much. That's the only thing. I'm overloaded. But I think it is. There's a significance to it because everything happens in threes, right? So if three females are intuitively or it's coming to them, and it may not be me, but it may very well be the masculine that I can represent, let's just say. And so I just want to get you to expand on that because I think I said this about 10 days ago. Remember when I had the seizure? I had the seizure and I was thrown. Yeah, and I went into this place where there was two masculine forces. They looked like two angry, violent oceans, and they were clashing, and there was no 0 point. And I knew everybody on both sides, and I'm like, hey, dudes, this shit's let's cut it out. Like we're not enemies. Oh, we're not. Oh, then it became this whole different energy, and that's when I said, you know what? We forgot, because that space that I was witnessing, the divine feminine had never seen it, ever. Now, if that were true, which it was, now she was seeing it. The transformation that was taking place, the aha, the epiphany, what they've forgotten, what they're remembering, was unbeknownst to her as well as him. So I was saying at the time, we forgot about the divine masculine. And what I mean by that is we don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
You see all these people, oh, he's soft and he's just, hey, you know what? He's a fucking warrior. But he's just not going to go and kick your ass. He's a peacemaker, and he's a diplomatic emissary of the universe and of the feminine. And he builds his creations are basically homage to her. They're like homage to the, you know what I mean? It's like her expressions of her love, basically. So that you're a woman and that you say there's some fucked up shit here. I mean, I don't know. You didn't say it exactly, but it feels it feels to me like you're onto something. So what is it that can you expand on it?
Well, yeah. I mean, for a while now, I remember talking years ago about this, saying, what about the little brothers? What's up with, like no one was talking about the little brothers. It was, that's what I call, that's just how, and it was always a surprise. Everyone was always surprised. Oh yeah. Like they hadn't even thought about it. Anyway, what's happening for how I see it right now is that, just as you said, there are key players, members, people who represent and can embody enough frequency, and duality is the word they're giving us, that they're in a balanced way, that they're able to embody and to bring in this energy, this code, and then their job is to share it out, though it's shared out through the use of the divine feminine as well, in this partnership that has been forgotten for a long time. And what it is to be a divine masculine. There used to be words that, if something doesn't exist anymore, you can't remember the words for it, right? And so it's like, all of a sudden, those words have been edited from my vocabulary of what it means to be divine masculine, because the truth of what he is being replaced by those words. And I just don't have the ability to quite grasp it yet. Like, I keep seeing this, and I think I've already told you this. I think I was telling Leah on one of the previous shows we did on the network, is that the vision I just keep getting is this guy in the woods with a guitar. Like that's what divine masculine looks like to me right now. And I don't fully understand it.
The guy in the woods with a guitar.
Yeah.
That's
like
cool.
By himself too.
What do they call that character? Like it's in the medieval times, like Robin Hood times.
Loot.
Yeah, loot. Is that the? Yeah. So, well, that would be cool. You know, I mean, the warrior. It's just so like, you know, there's a bunch of good podcasts. There's a lot of podcasts out there, and I've said this. There's not enough women. I mean, I think Soulogy Network, the balance of the producers is like 18 women to 2 or 3 men, and I think that's actually the right. That represents the real consciousness. Not to take anything away from men, but I'm just saying that's just the way it looks right now. And we haven't seen that. We're still seeing a lot of masculine energy out there. Now, there's some interesting podcasts. One of them is the Sean Ryan podcast. He's an ex-Navy SEAL. There's a couple other ones that have them. SEALs have them. And they talk about war. I mean, these guys are becoming awake. They're asking questions about COVID, and they're asking questions about the deep state, and they're talking to whistleblowers. Some of these whistleblowers are the ones that went before Congress. And at the same time, they're connected to the CIA, and I'm like, okay, I don't trust any of these motherfuckers, you know what I mean? But you always listen, right? But what I noticed about it energetically, and the reason that I kind of like got my fill of it, because I need to watch this for a while. Oh, let's see what this looks like. Are they really legit? Are they planning psyops or whatever the case is? Which is my inclination, is that they're most of it's, if not all of it's, psyops. But what I did notice is as they were talking about killing. They were talking about, oh, we had to get them back. And these were expanded masculine, expanded men, consciously speaking, but yet they were still under this umbrella of this matrix where, like you said, if you can't remember the word, it doesn't exist anymore. So that's when I had to turn it off after kind of keeping my eye on them for a few weeks, because that to me was like the perfect example of what I was trying to get out yesterday, or what I was trying to explain earlier. That is, let's say the matrix is war. The matrix is war. So you have all these conversations revolving around war, everything from gun control to, to killings, to robberies, to whatever, all that shit, debates. All right. Well, if we know that the war is not, it's not copacetic, it's not, in alignment with universal truth or whatever you want to call it, then you just remove that whole thing and all those conversations go away, but yet they're still talking about it. Mm. So when you talk about, or what you were kind of impressing upon me with this, this empathy, this deeper empathy for the male journey or the masculine journey, okay? It just feels right, because it feels like this. So much, even light workers, I'm sorry, but for the last 10, 11 years, and I know things have smoothed out a little bit more, but this is a really good point I think you're bringing up, because most of the things that have been said or connotated in regard to the masculine has been, it's your fucking fault.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's the truth. I mean, that's
and
the fucking...
also, you're going too slow.
Yeah, you're going too slow. But I think what happened when I had that seizure and that thing came in, to me, that was the point, at least for me, and I feel like that it landed, and maybe not everybody's conscious of it, maybe whatever, is that now we know he was programmed too. So if she was programmed and he was programmed, how the fuck can we be carrying any charge for the other gender, which we're both anyway. So it's like, you know what? That's like that big, dome of war is the Matrix and all these conversations, and then you just, wait a minute, that's not even real. And all those conversations go away. So we shouldn't have animosity in our hearts toward the other gender. And let's face it, other than mommy-daddy issues, which are really tied to the same thing, that would be the primary sticking point with anybody's internal sacred union, and therefore their ability to potentialize it in the external.
Exactly right. And it's a self-perpetuating prison. It has been. It's genius. Get everybody to play along with this paradigm, and then they can just go do whatever they want while it plays itself out over and over again, cycling and cycling, just like the cycle of abuse, the cycle of all of it is the same cycle.
Yeah.
I have an image that looks like that I was kind of given to draw to explain that breath out that you described. Do you want me to show it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I tried to do it two different ways. It doesn't actually look like this. This is just trying to show it. So, like,
what the hell?
You would say, let me line it up.
Wait, hang on. Let me get out of here. Hang on. Oh, wrong way. Hang on. Should be the other way. Okay, there you go.
So you would say that, okay, I'm going the wrong way. I'm used to being mirrored. I'm sorry. Hold on.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right. So right here would be where God is, right? And then God becomes and goes out right here.
Right.
And then each line goes farther and farther out. This is the breath out. And so we would be counted somewhere out here, right? And so as the breath in occurs again, then you go back up. So you see that each one doubles in self.
Right.
And then becomes self once again. Here's another example that I didn't complete, being that there's a center here. I can't, whatever. You can tell what I'm trying to say, don't you?
Yeah, I can see with the big one. Now this other one that you have.
Sorry, what?
The other one that you have where your left hand is, the one that's on the bottom now? Yeah. Now that one, are you showing, is that spark or that, whatever that is, that star thing, is that like showing you an individual, what happens on an individual basis? Is that what that's?
That would be counted as the being that started the Big Bang, or the breath out, basically.
Okay, does it go both directions?
Yeah, it does.
That's what I think. Yeah, okay, I got you.
And then when you look at, so this one, what it's meant to be is a full circle at the base.
Right.
And then it's actually a spiral, though. You watch that it's a spiral as it goes up.
Right. Exactly. And see, so if we're on the outer edge there, we're a small little circle, but we came from a bigger circle. And when that circle split or whatever, then that's what I'm saying. So like maybe that's why I stepped into, I guess you would say, Thoth's shoes, to understand and become aware of that history or whatever the case is, and to be witness to the equalization or neutralization of it. Because this witnessing thing, to me, is getting bigger and bigger every day. Like the importance of witnessing, there's something about it. And I was told a long time ago, like I'm talking like 10, 12 years ago, the universe said, like I would have, like I was talking about the embodiment. I remember I was down here at the bayou.
Will you come back on the screen, please?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
No problem. But when I was down here at the bayou 10 years ago or so, or whatever, a few years, I was told, go down there. At the time I had three spirit guides, and they all had an animal form. And so I went down and I had this embodiment thing, and I turned into a bear, and I turned into a wolf, and I guess that was embodiment. But when I looked, there was about 40 or 50 cloaked beings that I knew, and they were witnessing. And they explained to me that that is a part of, like universal or, rituals. Rituals are witnessed and so on. So there's something about that. And I feel like that this whole thing with the Thoth deal, and then tied into what you were picking up and my other friend, to me was like witnessing it. Because for me, it's got, as time has gone on, it's become more and more obvious that we don't have to do a bunch of work anymore. That just coming into the awareness of something creates an immediate transformation, or at least can, if we're not stuck on the grid, if we're not stuck on the story, or stuck on the prejudice or the bias, or women are crazy and men are stupid, kind of, those types of things.
Exactly. And that's why when the being was referring to you, that he called you Odin, because you're the one that is like out from the den, like you're bringing out from the places that can't be seen, the obscured places. He called you Odin. Did I not say that?
No.
This was
he called me Odin.
He called you Odin. He explained that.
What is going on with the Odin thing? That that a lady.
He said why. He said that it's out. Sorry.
Do you know that a lady yesterday sent me a thing and told me the thing about Odin? And I thought, well, she must be connected to Pamela. No, she wasn't connected to Pamela. She wasn't connected to Elsa. She's like, you're Odin. Yeah. So what happened now?
The reason that you are the name of it is what it is because it is out from the den. And a way of saying this is that it's the inhale. It's the inhale coming closer and closer to the light, farther and farther away from obscurity, something you cannot see, into where you can. And that's why I was so, when he showed me within your eyes, the honor of being somebody who's in shared partnership with the service that you were providing is just, there are no words for me to say that. You have been doing this for a really long time. And for the longest time you were doing it in a place of like half sleep, but you were still doing it.
Yeah. God, I didn't know how that. And he referred to me as Odin.
Yeah.
Or called me Odin.
From he said that. So no one spoke words, okay? There's not voice. Yeah. But he said, and you could hear it swirling in my head, and then I wanted to know why, and then he explained why. And that's why I know the answer to that question. Because I was like, that's interesting. I wonder why. Because
okay, so let me just get this. So he's saying that, or you said why or whatever, and he's saying because he's the one that brings things out from obscurity, that brings things into the light. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. One who brings,
yeah, because as far as like, this is what you do, like that I do know. Like I know what I do. Judith Kuzel does soul readings, and they're pretty powerful. And she did one for me years ago when I first met her. She comped me one, and that was the first time. You know how you'll read something, and it will like connect the dots for you. Like you got all the pieces, you just can't like fully tell the story in sequence. And she did that, and what she wrote was exactly what I knew in my soul, which is basically the same thing I'm doing now, which is pulling many energies and frequencies together to create, new vibrational realities that in the process of that does bring everything out. It requires transparency. It requires to know what you're dealing with in order to alchemize things and mix things and, modulate things. So that's pretty cool. And the other thing too is like with you, with a few others. I mean, I could go down the list. I just hate to even like name names because I always forget people.
Yeah, get it.
But if okay, so as the individual goes, so goes the collective. As the group goes, so goes the collective. Like there are energies and energy complexes on the earth that are not just paralleling the collective transformation, they are it, right? That they are it. So if I look at strictly as an energy, it's not about Soulogy, but I'm just saying if I look at the Soulogy Network over the last month, with all these shows coming out, all the convergence that came beforehand, that had to occur, because everything else was predicated off of that, right? Yeah. You don't just go, oh, let's do all this together. So I'm seeing all this uniformity in the energy, both as a whole and as individuals. Okay, it's really weird, and so I look at I look at Marina, Anna Toothman, you, Elsa, and then right down the line of all the producers and all the ones that are in the second wave and other people on the peripheral, people that message me that are strictly viewers, right, that are in the community. There's some type of soul tribe congealment. Something's happening. Like we're remembering. Like, look, I wrote this maybe to you. I don't know, but I know I wrote it to a couple of people yesterday, which was, we've done this before. We're remembering. We've actually done this before. That's what I'm getting. And not only are we recognizing each other, but we're remembering our roles, remembering who we are. Hey, let me ask you this. Some people, I've seen some credible and heard some credible intel in regard to this month, and oh yeah, we haven't got there. This is your specialty. What are we doing?
I'm excited. I was waiting for this part.
Oh, this is awesome, man. So they're talking about that. I think one of them, it's like even by the date of the 15th, that we're going to know a lot more about who we really are.
Yeah.
Now, so I'm asking you that, and then, just take us to the 23rd and beyond. Tell us what the hell's going to happen.
Right now, we are currently in the second wave of the 3 waves of remembering. And I didn't know that until this interaction with this being on the 1st, or it was technically the last day of the month, if that was the 30th or 31st, I'm not sure. Anyway, this is a phase of a period of development, and therefore everyone's experience with it is different. Then, it just depends on what's going on. I know for me that this phase is a 3-day window of time, a 72-hour period. And so this particular purging that we were talking about, or detoxification of the matrix, is something everyone's undergoing. However, in my case, it's accelerated due to my request with this being at that time. We had one already on the 18th of June is when it started. Now, remembering June, a lot of people didn't realize it until that they were in that window of time, but they'd been in a stasis. Like they were kind of like just existing, but they didn't realize they were in like zombie mode almost. Sleepwalking is another way of calling it. And then all of a sudden there was this emergence, this remembering, oh, wow, I didn't realize I was sleeping. Now I'm going to actually pay attention to what I'm doing kind of thing. So we're doing that again right now. Only this is like the amplified version because we already did this work. So now we're in the next one. And this does complete technically, globally, around the 15th, everyone's going to feel it. So that's why I think it's funny that you used that date. I don't know where you got that one from, but I'll have to ask you about that in a second. And then they said that the 23rd was going to be the 3rd one. That this when it comes on the 23rd is going to be a very, very, very exciting and profound moment in time. And that this is actually a moment that a lot of vessels have gathered around in order to be in witness of this. Not simply because it's going to be like a once and a forever, ever kind of moment, It's also because the ricochet energy from it, the echo of it, swells out to everybody. And so why not get close up? And, you know, like the kids do with the parades to grab the candy, it's kind of what these beings are doing. And so, and then we will have completely cleared the energy that has been obscuring the ability to access these truth streams, these like frequencies. They look kind of like a harp, you know, like the many stringed.
Yeah.
Okay. It looks like that, and you can connect to all of them anytime that you want. It's just that this like it look the what's being detoxed from our bodies looks kind of like brownish gray juice. And this, I don't know, it's probably like the sweat that I'm getting. I'm getting this weird gray sweat coming off my body. It's really nasty.
The fuck, man?
I know.
No, I'm kidding. I'm messing with you.
It's really gross. I mean, seriously, you know, you want to put down mats when you're sleeping. I lost my train of thought. Sorry, I got distracted. What were you doing?
Well, you're okay. So like in layman's terms, what do you think? What were the three waves, with the third one being? What exactly is happening? Is it all purging? Is it all, you know?
Kind of.
Yeah. I mean, I guess essentially clearing.
Yeah. It's getting the stuff out of the cup so you can see through past the translucent water. Let me see. Think of a better way of saying it. Okay, so part of this is the fact that we've devoted so much energy and work upon going within. It's really important that we did that. Go in, reflect, look at the reflection, see the reflections around you, all this stuff. And now they have chosen to show the imagery of the mirrors broken. The pieces of glass no longer serve, and now we're no longer being called to go within. Now it's time to go out. And
wow,
that's really exciting.
So
shit right
we
there.
Look at so we see the reflection, we look at the mirrors, we go in as we have the mirrors to guide us, you know, and trigger us, and then the mirrors shatter and there's no more mirrors, and now it's time to go out. Wow, that's really and that's what's happening, right? Yeah. I mean, that's what we're a part of at Soulogy. And otherwise, I'm not trying to make this always about Soulogy, but I'm just saying that it is energetically, it's in that pattern. I mean, look at Ernestine. Yeah. Ernestine, for I've watched her, like she was talking about yesterday. When she started doing this 3 years ago, she wasn't doing what she's doing now. She was playing the guitar, right? And look what's happened. Look what it's turned into. And so here's a person, you know, like so many of these other people. Like she had the pharmaceutical addiction. You know, she was on all the pills, and she was an outcast, and, you know, she was having the what we call psychic experiences and dimensional, and, you know, whatever her method or whatever her way was. And then she gets to a point, and to me, she exemplifies it. You know, you go down the news feed, there she is. There'll be one person watching, no people watching, 5 people watching. It doesn't matter to her. She's just doing it. She's going out.
Yeah.
She's going out, right? So that's why you're excited.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Exactly. And because I saw too, there's a couple of comments asking the question, and so this is exactly to go out with. So let's say, I know some of you aren't introverts, okay, but most of us, that's just kind of how it works. And so there's this introvert kind of thing of like you pull your energy in, and when you go out and go into the world and participate, even if it's not the world, there's still this pull your energy in kind of thing. And most people operate, their energetic sphere is only 50 feet in diameter. Like it's more like 200 when it's like relaxed. That's how much we go, you know, and like So now it's time to go out, and that means go like this to reach this energy out. Our energy, it looks kind of like tentacles, sort of. Like we have all these different fingers of energy that can reach out and go really far. And when we go out, then we connect to one another, we activate, and at the same time, elevate. We're able to then assist the raising up. And then as we raise up, then you can see where you're at, like actually see where you're at. And then everything's easy. It's freaking easy. Like all the stuff that seemed like it was so hard doesn't even matter anymore.
I know. See, that's what I was getting at. Whether we're talking about the masculine or war, like I was using that example, there's just, and this hit me a month ago. Let me try to go back and catch it all. But it was you. There was you involved. There was Anna Toothman. There was a couple of other collaborators. I just remember the kind of like the the vortex of it all. Mm-hmm. But there was something, and it may have been at the end of July, and it was kind of like all this stuff is up. Victimhood is gone. Perpetrator energy is gone. Savior program's gone. All the mirrors have broken into 1,000 pieces. So it's like, okay, now does it mean that we won't revisit something here and there? No. But what it meant to me was we can go to work now. We can go create, because look, you're going to feel discombobulated either way.
Right.
if it's going to be a day of whatever energies, you're going to be discombobulated anyway. There was something, I know I'm not explaining this right, but there was a point there where I said, okay, it's not that we don't have to do shadow work, but I don't think we have to do shadow work. Yeah. Now, what I mean by that is there's another method that has been accessed now. We don't have to just do it through this grind of these modalities. We don't have to just do this all the time. What I do say is that there's another way, and that is through creativity, collaboration, co-creation, but that it requires you, me, to be in the body 100%.
Right.
And if that means cutting off all the woo-woo, then that's what you got to do. Because especially light workers, and I think the perfect analogy would be what you just described about going out and being an introvert. An empath is an introvert. Because why? Because we're so noticeable, because we feel so much. It's not just that we feel so much, it's because we get noticed, right? People see that light, just like those two dudes last night. Like that had to be what it was.
Right. Oh, I'm sure.
Because one of them flat told me, right? I see you here, and you're always by yourself and you're writing and looking, and I don't want to bother you, but I think I got to talk to this guy. Well, what is that? So I think that's a perfect analogy in terms of like what is the MO, like how do we navigate now? What's different than the way before? And that would be that, if you can shine, if you can put those fingers out like you're talking about, mm-hmm. then what ends up happening is like the force of that kind of burns off the threads of whatever you got hanging on to you. Granted, there are I would say the biggest programs, the biggest blocks, the biggest blind spots, no longer to be blind to, are there. And maybe I think it's a good argument, there's still people that are having to deal with that, like having to deal with the patriarchal, or having to deal with the distorted feminine, or having to deal with the mother wound, or whatever the case is, right? Obviously, we have to be compassionate towards that. But I really feel like that something's changed, and I think we're experiencing it,
Yeah. And it'll continue to do so. The best suggestion that anyone can take in from this is just to be gentle with yourself and to know that you're perfectly safe. Like Todd's always saying, like we really are. Like this whole like oh no, be careful and kind of stuff is just a bunch of bullshit to keep you in the
I
shadow.
love when you talk like that. But it really is. It really is.
Mhm.
It's kind of like listening to these Navy SEAL guys on the podcast. And again, they have gained in stature and awareness. And anytime that happens, I got to go, okay, man, how come, they're getting all the favorable algorithms, and, you just got to question it. But regardless, there's still something to look at energetically. There's always something to look at. And that's the whole thing I said. It's like this is not even open for discussion anymore. I don't live in that world. I can't listen to this anymore, because even though there's some expanding consciousness dialogue, there's still this big giant elephant in the room that I'm looking at that doesn't exist. And if it exists here, I got to leave. I got to go to another dome. I got to go to another realm or world, And I don't know. I feel like that may be what was trying to come out yesterday. Was we make the decision right here. That's all it takes. Literally, that's all it takes. It'd be like, I used to say this in the old studio back in the day, and I'd get going, and I'd be like, we could all go outside right now, every one of us, and put our arms in the air, and and whatever the thing was, and just the power of it, just you know what I mean, like, or you could, another one would be, I saw an interesting ad or video that Donald Trump did yesterday. And it had to be just, maybe a week old or something. Mm-hmm. And I was a little bit, I was like, oh, because I like to watch everything and see what they're showing you and what's really behind it, right? Like, who is this person, or what are they really trying to do, or or tap into the person. Well, he was saying, they're about to try to put these COVID mandates back out on you. Yeah. Said it straight up. And I went, oh, wow, that's different. And then he said, and the election was rigged, which I know people have talked, and that's been put out there. But it was this real straight calling it out kind of thing. And I'm sure there's other, there's opposite to it. And there's, what I mean? There's yin and yang and everything. But I was just like that. Like there's something about that's coming to the surface about being direct. Yeah. Like just being direct. Like, last time I talked to you and you said to me, I'm seeing me. Right? Yeah. I'm seeing me. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, out on the peripheral of your, like you're seeing, like, no. And the one's closest to me. Here we go. See? And then I was like, yeah. So if that's the case, right? Like, there's so much removed in the old dialogue because that's the case. Well, yeah, of course you're me. Like your little picture. What's it? Yeah. That's it. At some point, the 100 people that are here right now, 151 people that are here right now, we were all in one sphere.
Exactly.
And then it subdivided, then it subdivided. So, are we here? Are we there?
Right.
We're both. Right. I mean, it's like somebody said, this dude that 2 nights ago, he said that the unified field is learning from us as we're learning from it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of thing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to echo and agree with what you said, that there's also those who you don't recognize as yourself. We're realizing that they're the non-player characters. Like you had said in a previous conversation we had with Elsa. You touched on it, and we didn't expand on it very much, but you were correct.
Say that again. So like
those who are not you. So just like you said, we're realizing, realizing that each other are ourself. Those who we don't recognize, we don't see ourselves within, are not truly here. Not in the way that we declare a presence being a presence.
Right. God, this is because then you wonder, because I really started wondering about that, about the NPC thing.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about like family members. I'm like going, okay, wait a minute. Are they even real? And then like based on what you're saying, is it possible that my NPC might be your real person? You know what I mean? Like, just because there's an NPC to me doesn't mean it's an NPC to you. That's where I start to say, no, let's go back to square one. Yeah. The nice thing is we know it's all one.
Yeah.
And that's not bypassing. To me, that's like going, okay, I can head that direction. So even if I'm doing shadow work or zero pointing or creating with my friends, I'm still, my intent is, my goal is to head that way, and I know the universe will support that.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you do find the stream, the path that is kind of meant for you. I mean, every path is possible to be done. It's just that when you find the path, I don't know the right word to use, it's correct is not correct for it, but when you find that path, all of a sudden all things are effortless. It just is. Like it happened, everybody says it happened, just everything just fell into place for it. That's that kind of example, only like on some type of drugs. I don't know how to amplify it to tell you that, and it's becoming that, where just everything is, I don't have the right words. I'm sorry. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And as we unpack what we are doing right now, my example of going through this detoxing period that I am is a little bit more pronounced than what other people are going to go through. So for us to compare and contrast these things, I just being reminded to say this, that it's a disservice to yourself to compare one another's experiences. We are all going through what it is that we need to do. And just like Todd had said, that the visual I am always given by these individuals is a hot air balloon, and that has too many of those bags of sand around it. And so we just cut one thing at a time and allow yourself to get, regain your bearings before you do the next thing. And so knowing that this is going to be a progressive experience for the entire month. Also remembering too that this month is actually the 7th month. That's the sept is 7.
Right.
And that's why the 7/7 portal is also apparent here in this month too. So technically we have like 9 different once in a lifetime astrological events just this month. Like it's kind of a joke. So I was encouraged to say that, and I forgot we were talking about before that. It
doesn't matter. We're discombobulated.
It's such an NPC is a non-player character. For those of you who are asking, that's I call them filler people. Some people call them background people or extra people.
Yeah, Dolores Cannon calls them background people.
Okay. Good.
And Edgar Casey calls them. I don't remember, but we all know now. We know.
Yeah.
So what about if we? Oh yeah. Okay. God, we are really discombobulated. We're 2 hours into this discombobulation. Okay. So my thought was, I can't believe I'm just bringing it up now, but look, these beings that you ran into, and then the one being came over to talk to you.
Yes.
Okay. My feeling then immediately, and again, it was like past, present, future. This is what happens to me anyway. Because when I say past, present, future, I can, in that moment, like say you told me, Todd, this is what happened. This being came over. I put my head down so I could see him. Yeah. Boom. Something snapped. I went, oh, wait a minute. So all these things that happened in the past go, oh, they all just fall into place. And then as I'm looking to the future, whatever that means, same thing. It's like, oh, okay, wait a minute. And then, of course, it's in the present. So my feeling was that these were the beings that I've interacted with and what we would call inner earth. And I'm not saying that they are, but my feeling was that they were Agarthians, because that's exactly what they look like. They're white skin, white hair, really fine, super intelligent, illumination coming off of them in a very faint, kind of a soft neon kind of thing, right? And so I just thought, well, what if we tap into it and we see, let's call them on the phone and see if they want to, because look, today in an hour, I'm going to play the Corpus Christi Soulogy gathering from,
oh, cool.
What was it, 2 weeks ago? I was supposed to put it up like the next day. And in that gathering, in that house, it was an old house that was empty by some friends of Ty. Ty went in to set up. There was a ghost. There was a masculine ghost upstairs that lived there. And so Ty, being the wizard that he is, made a deal with the guy. Hey, man, we're just going to have a little gathering down here. We won't bother you. And the house is empty and all. And so, and it's on tape. I haven't watched it, but we'll watch it together tonight. There's a part where this dude starts running across the floor on our ceiling. Awesome. And he's engaged with us. He's not upset. He's actually excited. And we've had the same types of things happen spontaneously on the show over the years as well. So I wonder if we could tap in. What do you think?
For sure. I actually started to a little bit. By the way, that was celebrating. Isn't that fun instead of celebrating? I like that.
Celebration. Yeah, I was trying to think of a word to have for these things. And I was like, Soulogy gathering, that sounds so. But celebration, yeah, I can dig that.
Isn't that neat?
Celebration,
like that. So the answer is yes, that they are. These beings are from within Earth, and they would be considered what the word you think said Agartha, something like that. Yeah. That's not really their name, but that's what they're identified as. Forward came 7 men and 14 women in these energies. For some reason, it was important enough. I was supposed to write that down to let us see somehow where the way that balance is. What's really weird, and I guess it's all really weird if you really think about it, is that the being who spoke with me claims that he is actually you, Todd. And so that's kind of interesting. So that's a whole different...
That's what I said.
I just didn't know that was true.
To me, that made... Right. Yeah, to me, when you told me, that made sense because it would make sense it was me. It would absolutely make sense because it would have to be. In order for someone to have that, whatever that's called, because I don't even know what the term would be, but to be able to, we do it here by looking in the eyes. And that's how we recognize each other. That was our fail-safe. This, like, I went to breakfast yesterday. I was thinking about Maddie. So I went to breakfast, and there was these two people. It's Houston. It's a melting pot. So they were speaking. I don't even know. It wasn't Spanish. They were speaking some type of European language, and they had this kid was, God, I've had 6. I should know. I mean, like what, 6 months old? Blonde hair. Like blonde hair, the kind that just sticks out like they stuck their finger in a light socket, and these big blue eyes, man. I mean, these big blue eyes, real fair skin. And so I walk by this kid. I'm sitting next to this kid, and this kid will not take his eyes off me. he would not. And I, hey, hi, how are you? You know, and then I went to go start eating my breakfast, and I heard, I have code for you. Look at me. Yeah. And I was like, excuse me? And so he's just looking at me, and now his expressions weren't, following the words. He was still a kid, but his eyes were locked, even to the point where his mother's like, in broken English, I don't know, he never does this, But anyway, that's why I think, that's why, I just kind of knew that would be the case. And that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. So I guess I don't know, let me ask you, as you and some of these other people were saying, that we're going to know more about ourselves and our connections, I would think that would go with it. What about conscious multi-dimensionality? Like, do you have any inkling how far that's going to go? Like, I know people like you, and others, everyone will get there, can be like here and walking on another planet with their daughter holding hands going to the park, right? But do you feel like that? It's one thing to know, oh yeah, I've got a aspect in Agartha, or I have an aspect on this planet, or that's one thing. And it's another thing to like, I'm going to go jump in that body for a while, But do you have any idea, like, how does that work? Or have they ever shown you anything like that?
What they've actually been showing me something that sounds a lot different, but it's the step to what you're talking about. Is this, and it's really weird and kind of been fun to try to wrap my head around it. Is that this new way of, so you know what remote viewing is, right?
Yeah.
You're in your body, you're present someplace, but you're also seeing someplace else.
Right.
And we've slowly been learning how to manipulate the environment that we're in when we're remote viewing and all that, but it's still like, you're still kind of like a residual energy rather than a physical one.
Right.
This same spiritual technology is now turning into, looks like more like teleportation. Being that, what's the weirdest part about this is that you're still in your body, but you're in a body that looks like your body over someplace else doing something. And you don't even realize that you think that you're full on over there, but you're also there. And when you do this, when you move past this encumbering, what's the right word? This energy that kind of anchors you into probably a false resonance. When you move out from it, then all of a sudden, then a lot of the questions, or a lot of the things that needed to be questioned at least, come forward. And when that does, then we're able to more easily go through the, what is it? It's not a babushka doll, but that's stuck in my head because I like that word. It sounds fun to say. Nesting doll is what I've always been called, or told to call it when I was younger anyway. Like that concept, you become each of these different fractals of you and become more. So you can choose to move around through these dimensional frequencies and coexist. Though we already are. It's just Pamela doesn't always remember.
Right.
It's an echo, a faded memory, and the belief system in all of what we've been taught for years and years. That's crazy. That's not true. Don't believe that. Don't trust yourself. That kind of stuff is all going down the toilet. Like, we're no longer gonna participate in this anymore, and that's part of this paradigm that you're talking about. Like, the simple agreements, not realizing what we're doing. Having a social security number is a straw man, that's a fictitious name to make you a commodity for the country that you belong in, and that your country and all this stuff, is breaking it down.
Yeah, that's, God, you're right. I mean, that's what I mean. So much of it becomes moot. And I think you were talking about the 23rd, and some of the others that I mentioned might have been talking about the 23rd. And my impression is, like, whatever the impact is, it's going to take all of these dialogues off the table.
Yeah.
Like they're all just going to go away. Like we're going to go, because think about it. Like there's a certain level of awareness that can be instant. Like, let's say, I'll just make something up. Let's say that the governments come out tomorrow and say, listen, everybody, the world's flat. And we don't even know. We're in a dome, or, whatever the story is. But something that, let's just say, for the sake of the discussion, everybody knows it. Like
right.
their instinct says, you know what? This is true. Now, all this other stuff goes away, or it will be like, well, then why did y'all do that? And why did y'all do that? And why did y'all do that? But quickly, because of the magnitude, right, of the coding or the information, they're moot too. Doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. It'd be like all of us waking up tomorrow and saying, and looking at each other in the eye and saying, we know we're all souls, we know we're all the same. Oh, by the way, why did you assholes do COVID, or why did you do all this fuckery, or 9/11? It would be moot.
Right. No one cares.
It would be moot because we now know I'm looking at myself here, right?
Right.
So I kind of get the feeling that that's what we're looking at with the 23rd of September.
Yeah. There's a uncovering that will occur on this date that will assist in a rapid breakdown of a lot of these systems. It's funny. The systems have been breaking down so much that every time that they channel through the word system, it always has to have a break, as if the word itself is broken. System. Isn't that amazing? I think that's so fascinating.
It reminds me of a stem of a rose, and it's broke.
Right.
When you say system, like, for some reason.
Yeah. Cis means typical. That's a derivative of a word that the Latin that means typical. It means normal, average, I guess is another word, cis. And so so these systems all across the board have already been breaking down. It's actually really fun, and we could spend 15 hours talking about this, but I have so much information about the money system and all this stuff. It's really cool to watch it. One thing to be aware of, just so we all can stay in love and harmony, is that when something breaks down, there's a moment where everybody goes, oh, but what are we going to do without this thing that I think I need?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
To just be fine. Everything is truly free.
Right.
It's truly free. And so, sometimes there's a moment where there's kind of like a little, everyone's figuring out the new way of acquiring or whatever. And just to chill out, cool your beans. What I see is mostly it's into retirement age women who have a little bit of a freak out. And I just wanted to give the hope that this is it'll be a temporary thing, and you don't need your ATM card to work to sustain and to be happy and to be complete. And that's
yeah. And you said, what did you say? The women retired age and over? Is that what you were saying?
Those are the ones I see the panic that
Okay.
echo out from when it first happens, just because there's this, I think it's due to being longer conditioning and indoctrination in the system.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I'm thinking, because I've watched this in my mother, who's 84, and who was locked in. I mean, very, very intuitive, very connected, and very much subjected to the human condition in a very deep way. And then she has that heart surgery last year, about a year ago.
Right.
And I think I told you, and I've said this, she tells me this the other day, like, when I had that surgery, when I woke up, I was different. My heart was different. So she had, but now, like, it's been about a month since we had that conversation, and spend a lot of time together, and we're talking about things, and I'm somewhat in an organic way involved with her future. Where will she live? What measures will be taken? Where will I be in proximity or not? And so as a result of that, there's obviously discussions and connections directly or not or indirectly involving these things you're talking about, such as taxes and all this stuff, right? Contracts, mortgages, and all that. But I noticed that they don't have the hold on her that they did.
Good.
Yeah, she's more interested in personal expansion, getting more clarity in her connection with Source, and just fucking chilling, just awesome. Being happy and being in peace, right? So if that can happen to one, then it can happen to others. And she had the jab, and I think one or two, and she was very open about it. They had like one of those long things, that they're finding.
The worm thing.
Yeah, we are so badass to be able to overcome GMOs and fluorides and programming and chemtrails and all that stuff. And then you hear a story about someone like that, who walked out of the hospital 3 days later, no medication, nothing, and just like, just went and had a tune-up or something.
And this is a breastplate cracking kind of surgery, right? Yeah. This is like serious.
Yeah, they get a saw, cut you wide open.
What a healer.
Well, I mean, I heard another story about a man that similar thing happened to. So what is that? I mean, I just feel like, there's a certain level of comeuppance occurring, which is those things that I thought were not me, or those people that I thought were not awake, or those people that I put at a different level. You hear that a lot. Hey, we're all at different levels. Well, there you go with the comparison thing that you were talking about. Well, maybe we're not at different levels. Maybe we're just all at different points, different places. And you know what I mean? Like, I think that this whole comparison thing has got to really,
We are all this flute, right? And at some point, you're going to find that you want to measure because somebody is here before you are. But do you see? It's all one. Right. And we all make it through. I totally agree. You're right. You're so right.
Hey, and can you play that flute? Can you play the flute?
Oh, not in front of anybody.
Why?
Maybe someday. Not right now. I can barely speak, Todd. Come on.
No kidding, right? I played it a few times. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I played a few times with friends that would have them.
Yeah.
But
I like flutes.
Yeah, so God, I don't even know. What do we talk about for 2 hours and 15 minutes?
So I would like to echo back what you said, because this is really important. What you brought up is that, and this has always been my question, is that it does not matter what you take into your physical form as this incarnated being that you are. You are mighty. You have the power to transmute anything. If you've taken all of, I didn't actually keep track. I don't do that, though. I know that there was like a bunch of boosters and stuff with this vaccine too, and just all of this stuff. Probably wasn't supposed to say that word. Sorry, I realized that we were on social media.
It doesn't matter. Vaccine. I don't know why people don't say the word vaccine.
Anytime anyone corrects me and tells me to say a different word, that's when I don't trust that person anymore. It's like you should be able to say the word that you want to speak, right? Anyway, so yes. Anybody who took that is the point. It doesn't matter if it was this or anything else. You can transmute anything.
Yeah.
All of us can. You are powerful beings. The mechanism of the matrix is solely based on disempowerment, belief in lack of power of self. That's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
And like Todd's mom's 84 years old, and she's like, I'm rolling out of here. I'm going driving by myself. Get out of the way. And like, I mean, anybody can do this. And this includes all things. When I was a teenager, I suddenly was no longer with this abusive family, and they decided, well, you're going to be depressed. I have 18 different types of medications into your body, no choice. And like, it took a little while, but I was able to transmute all of that stuff, and some of it is linked directly to like complete brain numb, no connection. And I did it because I didn't want it. I didn't like feeling like a zombie, so I made it go away. What I'm trying to show you all is that all of you have this power, and that you're not powerless. You're not a victim of circumstance. And a lot of us take in these toxins so we can show ourselves that we have power later on when it's time. Right? So I'm off my
fucking
soapbox.
A, man. Hell yeah, get on the soapbox. But it's true, and that's a good example too, because not only are you seeing stuff out there, I've seen stuff out there where people are holistically and in an energy practitioner type of way addressing these things successfully. But I also see where there's I don't know if it's Dr. McCullough or one of the doctors that was kind of like ostracized, at the beginning, where they've actually come up with treatment for this, at least some of the specific dangers, which I think involves spike proteins. So yeah, you're right, and keep in mind too that back when this was going down and Franco was with us, and he was getting this info like you get, and would have it beforehand. Originally, it was designed before I guess the better angels got involved to take out 3/4, and then it got pushed down to what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, go ahead.
That's the other part of it that I forgot to say. Thank you for bringing that up. Is that the other part of this, the other side of the token, I guess is another way of saying it, is that we are given these things. These things are presented to us as options, and so you can choose.
Yeah.
The example of an energy being asked that's in grade school to go to university is unkind. It's a cruel thing to even consider asking someone. And so those who are not done with where they are energetically, they still being us. And that's that part's a little harder to wrap your head around sometimes, but that's still us. It's just that part of that picture I showed, they're still doing the echo of that right now. And so they have the choice. That's what I'm trying to say, is that then you're presented the choice to evacuate, to step back and to go into this other frequency. And so you can play out. Some of these other timelines that we know we have closed and gone away from are playing out in some other place, in some other frequency, some other way. They're just not being affected. They're not affecting us because we're no longer part of that story.
Right. So that thing that happened with the beings and the being that came and talked to you, that I guess was an aspect of me. That being said, you mentioned it in the message. You hadn't mentioned it here. And the reason I'm asking is not for myself. Okay, but in that message you said that he said or showed you that I was almost at full memory. Okay, so my question is, which is probably a dumb question, because here we go. You ask the question and the answer comes in, right? Mm-hmm. But like, regardless of who the person that we're talking about is, if that's occurring for one person, it would have to be occurring for many people, all around the same time, right?
Yeah. There are the first, it kind of, I don't know why this is the visual, those spikes, those posts that you put in for a tent when you're out camping is roofing. It's the first one to pull up. And so there's a couple of them that need to pull up, and you're one of those. You, Todd, are one of those. And so as you pull that up, then you allow for more movement for others to then start to be able to recall. I don't know why that's the visual I'm being given. It's like an upside down L, so there must be something hidden there. We need Elsa for that. Where is she?
So the thing is an L shape?
I guess a 7, right? Because it's this upside down L, 222 right now. 7.
Well, I find the 7 thing interesting because of July. So there was the 3-7 days, plus that was a big thing. 777s and 21s, and now you're saying that the group that came to you 2 days ago was 7 men, 14 feminine. That's right. 21. That's 21. Not to mention, if you look at the way that's laid out, so you have 2 feminine, 1 masculine, right?
That makes sense too.
There's 1/3, yeah, because to me that would make sense, because not that it's not, masculine, feminine, golden child, but like in order for that pendulum to swing back, and you've been in a patriarchal scenario, you have an overload of masculine, so it would make sense to me that you would have, well, if you look at Soulogy as an example, in an organic fashion, you probably have, let's say, 30 players, or 30 collaborators, 30 people that have said, okay, I'm in, as far as like doing the shows and supporting the shows, and there's maybe 5 or 6 men,
right?
And the rest are, and it makes sense to me. It really makes sense to me that and again, I look at Ernestine as a great example of that. Like they're just coming, and they're just going to keep coming.
Yeah.
And then the cool thing is you've got this new kind of dude around. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's not what anybody thought. He's not. I don't know how to explain it, but I think we're starting to see it. That dude Chris, I need to go through my emails today because I still haven't gotten to him, but I will. And everyone else, I'll get to the emails, no doubt. But that dude,
yeah, he's awesome.
Anna Toothman had a guy on, Chris Fasick or something, an attorney from Florida that had an incredible story. Went to prison, came out of prison, new man. Look at Ty. Ty's a great example to me. Just.
Oh, I love Ty.
Like,
I was thinking yesterday, I just want to hug that guy. I don't know why. I just want to give him a hug.
Like walk softly, carry a big fucking stick. That's Ty. To me, that's Ty. But it's that magician part, that wizard part, that I think is maybe what I'm trying to take a stab at here with the part of the masculine that we forgot about.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm right. I think it because I can remember, like, I am remembering more, and it's like it's all energy. It's like controlling energy and controlling the weather. So there's a magician, wizard, alchemist part of the masculine that's essential to his design, architecture, and the construction of what he creates.
Yes.
There's a science and a geometry and a mathematics and I believe, and this isn't like straight line engineering type of template or accountant. This is something else. It's what I'm talking about, and I feel like that's something we lost, or so we forgot about him. We thought he was just a soldier, or a breadwinner or a mule. What do you
when he is left alone to truly be who he is, without judgment, without consequence, without discipline. Discipline's the word, but it means like getting in trouble.
Right.
Then he can create just as a female does.
Right.
A female energy.
That's you just hit the nail on the head.
I didn't do it. I was just repeating.
Well, that's you.
Yeah.
You're getting it from you. But, this is interesting that you brought that up, because it's strange. Okay? It's very strange. So, all this time, through the evolution of Soulogy, I have, come into greater understanding as the memories come in, and it becomes more familiar, and you can see it. But it is a platform, for lack of a better word. It's a platform where, people can step into it and feel supported. And again, look at Ernestine. Look at that show last night. It was like nuts. I mean, if anybody hadn't seen that show, the first 25 minutes of it, oh my God, really all of it. But
the whole thing. I was there from the beginning all the way to the end. It was amazing.
But I feel like okay, so that's what I was trying my best to create in my own way. Well, in the past week, I've actually felt it.
Awesome.
Isn't that crazy? I actually felt, and it happened twice. It happened on a show, and just recently. Like I think it was that solo show yesterday, and then it happened singing.
Yeah.
Right? And it was like, oh wow. I actually feel safe. So this whole thing that I was focused on for other people to provide, I never actually even thought about it for myself.
Right.
It's weird. It's weird though, and that you bring it up and articulate it like that. But yeah, it was weird. So that must mean something, I would think. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about like just, like in regard to what's happening and what it looks like. But I do think we're going to see. How can I say this? I know it's my truth, and I'm not saying it to prove it. I don't care what anyone thinks. I know I'm on the very, very front end of the masculine's transformation.
Yes.
I know that. It doesn't mean that my shit doesn't stink. It just means I know what I know, and I've known it. There are, just like my situation last night, and 3 more today. Okay, 2 men last night, 3 today, and there is a lot of there's a lot of energies jockeying for position inside the transforming male,
right?
The incarnated transforming male, and it's moving very fast, and it's like fingernails on the chalkboard. It's like screech, I can see it in them. I can feel it in them. But what's cool is like, okay, how do you say this? So what's cool is that they're sincerely opening their heart, and I'm just reflecting, because I'm just remembering it right now. And again, it's the universe telling me something to then share. Like that one guy last night, this guy was probably 40 years old, 45. He wasn't on the pity pot at all. He was just explaining everything that happened to him, including relationship with a woman, right? of course, and he was going, man, I don't ever want to be part of that kind of stuff again. I'm going to do whatever I have to clean my shit up so that I can create the best for myself and the people I love. Like, it was like talking. I mean, it was. I didn't expect it. So now I can look and appreciate why those two men came up to me, and then I got 3 more today. Now, I'm not saying I'm some type of counselor or nothing. I'm just saying that I think what my part of my role is basically to share what's going on. It's not my intel. It's just like, this is people on the show, you know, like whatever, like people talking about what's going on with themselves. So, but yeah, I feel like that this masculine thing is a really big deal. A really big deal.
You're a masculine magnet. The masculine magnets. There's something about this. Again, Elsa and her thing and the M's. We have M's. My family, my daughter and I have M's on our hands. Like the way that she's making a big deal about it, and the double M. But this is again another double M. The masculine magnet. They're talking about it, and like, you know how I told you about the magnets, that people come to you like magnets, and then you turn it on and you can actually hear it. It sounds like one of those high power magnets. It's like it comes on. You're activating yours, and it's actually what your heart center is. It's like it sounds is a magnet, and you draw in the energies to you that can use this energy when you have enough that you can have overflow. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so you can share out without having compromised self. That's a very important distinction, and this happens naturally. That's why they say that's the other side of it. So remember, we always say, do not go to them, for you too shall be lost. There are energies now that will start to come to you. And if they come to you and you don't go to them, this is a whole different part, right?
Right. Yeah, because that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense for any situation like that, because if you go to them, it's like us sticking our nose in it, right?
Yeah.
Like who the fuck are we to know, to think that we, I mean, that's what this whole thing's based on. Like this whole thing with I was telling you about that guy Matt LaCroix, that's pretty interesting, that was on Jimmy Dorsey, the Jimmy Dorsey podcast, which has got some interesting things from time to time, and he was talking about his theories, or his take on everything as it is today, that's about to happen or that's happening as a result of all the work he's done in studying ancient civilizations, and of course uncovering the suppression and this and that, right? And so what he's basically saying is that these people that really know that what's going on, that have revised the history, and that have held the esoteric knowledge, and that are behind all the fuckery and all that, whatever, they've determined that the world is not ready for the information that they hold. And I told you this. My stepfather said the same thing in the 70s, and he was a high level, I'd say like colonel level, GS-16 in the civil service, CIA. He said the world's not ready. Now, I don't know what he was referring to, but I would imagine, he did tell me there was 13 families that ran the world in the mid-70s, so he would have known about the Rothschild and company. Right. But, and of course, I would assume that it had to do with, extraterrestrial, terrestrial, technology, etc. But anyway, my point is, like, that's kind of what we do. Like, who are we to go in and think that we're God of that person, right? But now if the person comes to us, it's like us in prayer, right? It's like us in prayer, where we appeal. So now we're open. We're 100%, 360 degrees wide open and receptive. Whereas, you know how it is when, you're a practitioner, right? I mean, you have people come in the door, and I'm certain that they want to tell you a story. And nothing taken away from it, but you got to know my story, or you're not going to get the whole thing, right? And that to me is already, and it can be alleviated, but I mean that to me is already a sign of resistance. Yes. Because I've got to have this story. This fucking story is this is me. I'm this story. And,
it's my own.
Right? When really the reality is, it's like, you know what? This fucking story isn't me. I fucking surrender. I'm gonna go see Pamela. Help me. I don't know a fucking thing. That's the point that maybe that's the point that the world's getting to. I don't know anything. Just lay it on, rip the Band-Aid off. Because I'm like you. I don't want to go hair by hair anymore. It's ridiculous.
I know, it's so tiring and it goes on. Yeah. And that there's my sessions are usually 2 hours long because they could be only 1 hour long if people could relinquish their stories sooner.
Yeah.
They just want to hear from grandma and stuff at first, and so they're just stuck on and to tell me all their spiritual experiences, which is awesome. It's just, but it's quantifying that they are permitted to be in my presence, and they don't need to do that.
Exactly. And yeah, no, I run into that a lot in my travels, and I've had to really, I've had to, work my way through it. It's like, it's not like, I can't. I have a hard time hearing it. And I get that from some people close to me, and I typically don't answer them. I don't go there. And they'll even say to me, "I know you're going to tell me that it's a story, or I know you're going to say it's all on me, and well, I mean, I don't know what else to say. That's what I say to myself. That's what I say to myself. So, but it is. I think it is important. I mean, and I applaud you and those like you who allow that hour. I mean, that's a pretty powerful, compassionate thing to do, and your level of patience and tolerance is to be commended. Our minds to be damned, are condemned.
It's becoming smaller though lately. I think that I'm getting more impatient. It's like, all right, you know what? I gave y'all time to commiserate, and now it's time to go. So are you coming? Yeah. Something that just came through that was really fun. I was talking with Elsa about, I might have talked with you about too, is I just found out I don't have to stall my ascension anymore because everybody's catching up enough. And so it's like, okay, so we're done with the story. And so we're going to see what this example looks like in my sessions in the coming weeks, is that because my tolerance is no longer needed for it.
So you're not, okay. So what does that mean? You don't have to wait on your ascension anymore.
Oh, so I've been stalling on purpose.
Yeah, but what would happen if what happens when you don't stall? Now, what's going to happen now? Or do you have any idea?
Well, now, because I'm not doing it anymore, it's going to look like it's looking for me right now. But a few years ago, if I didn't intentionally start the stalling process, I'd be where I'm at now a couple of years ago. And I wouldn't be able to connect with people that I was able to connect with along the way and help. Okay,
I got you. I get that. Okay, I get that. Okay. Yeah, I can. Okay, yeah, I got it. Because I did the same thing. I can feel it. Like if you look at, and then the shift happens essentially March 1st, or the download comes in March 1st. And the rest is history.
March is going to be really amazing. My eyeball just turned red for a second. Did you see that? That was really weird.
The hell?
And my eye just turned red for a second. That was really
I don't know if I should say, I'm not going to say her name out loud, but one of our collaborators sent me some pictures of her eyes that her husband took. Just like, hey, your eyes are funky today. She sends me the pictures, and they're like dragon eyes.
Wow.
Like I know quite a few people that their eyes have not permanently all the time.
Yeah.
Like mine are getting like a kind of a green ring around them, and mine are very dark brown. My second wife used to say shit brown, but there's like a rim around it that's getting bigger and bigger. Yeah, it's kind of green. I don't know if you can see it here, but but my friend, our friend, yeah, it was like slit. It's like, like a dragon eye. I'm like, what the fuck, cool. Man?
I've seen that before. It's happening. It's becoming more and more common.
Yeah.
That usually happens after we notice there's like a film that leaves your eye, and then everything starts to seem like it's out of focus for a while, and then you go to the eye doctor and they're like, wow, you got great vision. It turns out it's not that your things are going out of focus, is that you're starting to see things that you couldn't see before, that were operating at a higher frequency than you were. And then we raise our frequency like this. We don't go up straight up. We just kind of like, and so we're starting to see what's already been in front of you for a really long time. It's just that, and it happens usually the film comes off the eye, and then around that same time is when you'll notice your eye morphing. Your eye changes. I have different color of eyes too. Now my eyes are like mood rings. They change really dramatically with my emotion.
Why did they turn red? Did you get pissed off?
I didn't. I don't know what happened. It looked like it turned red for a second. That was really bizarre. I'll have to look at this again later on. I was excited. I had something I wanted to say, and then I got distracted by my eye.
Yeah, I like this format.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Be cool with Elsa here next time. With her, she's amazing. Like, what's amazing about her is I didn't notice it at first, but she was like in low gear, like first gear, second gear. And then all of a sudden, like about, I don't know, a month ago, for me anyway, I saw her kicking like, and like, like she's getting comfortable in her own skin. And I can't even imagine being her or Richard or their kids, like that whole group, like talk about, an island in and of itself. And then having to come out and share that reality.
Yeah.
Here's this 90-pound woman that's bore 8 children, that runs a multi-dimensional household that's got to go tell the world now.
Wow. And then where they live, that bubble just popped too. So that frequency it's finding stability, but it's been unstable. So there's all kinds of stuff going on in that part of the world.
Well, that's what I was saying too. Is like she's doing it really, and it's kind of an understatement to say she's doing it, because she even speaks in terms of it's a collective voice, like it's her whole family speaking, right? But as she's doing it, coming out, like so many, but with her extreme circumstances, she's got all this crazy shit going on around her, constantly. And it's just like, what's great too about her, she can laugh about things. She's sweet. Yeah.
I love her.
No, I love you both.
She's part of us too.
Yeah, I love you both. You both. We got work to do. 4:44. 16 minutes. I'm supposed to in 16 minutes play.
We gotta go.
Play the.
Oh my gosh, we've been talking for like 2 hours and 45 minutes.
2 hours and 45 minutes. 2 hours and 44 until right this second.
Holy cow.
2 hours. Oh, no, actually.
My daughter says, holy buckets with snakes. I don't know why the snakes is a new thing, but she always adds snakes to everything these days. Anyway, thank you so much for this lovely conversation, Todd. This was fun.
Thank you. Elsa has 8 children.
Yes.
If Guinevere, how do you say that name? I know her. She's been on the show. She had 8 children in 10 years. Their story is amazing. I think if you go search Soul Speaks 5D on YouTube or Facebook, and put her name in and go to the first one, because I don't know when it was. She tells that story. It's pretty remarkable. All right, so we're going to hook up again. Oh, you'll be here. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Tomorrow, I have Stacy coming on the Higher Vibration Show. That starts at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we would have been talking for 46 minutes at this point to fix your timeline.
Okay.
Time zone. It's going to be a fun conversation. This woman is a really good friend of mine and just a really cool energy. So if you can tune in tomorrow or watch it on the SoulogyNetwork.com platform, it'll be available for viewing there.
Right on. And we're going to come up with a 7-day free trial.
Oh, sweet.
They're working on it. And there's a few other things. I just can't. I'm supposed to get a lot of work done this weekend. I hope I can do it. But yeah, so people. Yeah, I mean, we're doing the spotlight shows of the one a month for each show and every premiere, and we really have to maintain the integrity. We're not trying to be exclusive. We're trying to build something that will survive after the collapse, because I'm not a doomsday or anything, but these things that are obviously constructed with lies and duality or dualistic constructs are going to fold. We know this. So we try to put as many out as we can without corrupting the integrity of what we're building together. But we will continue to add stuff to it, and it's going to become so attractive everybody will want to be on it. Right. I'm telling you now. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, it's happening. Some of the stuff that's happening. So, but yeah. So anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe talk to you later, and give Maddie a third eye kiss from Uncle Todd.
I'll do it.
I hold you to it.
I love you.
Love you too.